And I was talking today, and I know that she's doing a sterling job holding the fort, keeping hope alive, which is what we want right now. We want people who are uh, on side and still believers. And I still believe. I think some of you who've been on most of my calls, my leaderships, my Zoom calls, team calls, know that where I stand. I'm a person who stays committed to the cause. Loyalty is part of my DNA. And even though we're in choppy, stormy waters, and let's be honest, guys, let's agree that the market is down. How many of you are buying as much Bitcoin as you can right now? Let's be honest. Yeah, there you go. I mean, we thought last week, 2 weeks ago, 30,000, that's a pretty good low. Let's buy as much as we can. It's gone down to 20,000. I think it's hovering around 22,000 now. So listen, I don't need to tell you that the market is pretty bad right now. Profits are slim pickings right now. Coinbase announced 1,100 staff layoff. Binance, I've been told today, are restricting withdrawals. How many of you are aware of that? And Celsius, and of course Terra Luna, and there'll be some other casualties in the industry. But I want you guys to understand where I sit, where I am, and why I'm here, and why I asked Brenda to put this call together, because even though you're not part of my team, my immediate downline, I've always looked at your team, Brenda's leadership, and I've always been there to help wherever I can because you're part of the community. And I've always felt from day one that I was a community leader and not just a team leader. Some of you might get that a bit later on. There's a difference, a huge difference in responsibility, in commitment, in work ethic. There's a difference between just being a team leader, like many are, and a community leader, because guess what? I got started on day one, and I'm still here. I don't know how many days later, 1,000 days later, who knows? But I'm still here, still fighting, still believing. And so I wanted to have a call today just to say to you guys that I know right now there's a lot of uncertainty. Of course, there's this new program coming on. There's a new pro-node package solution for leaders. Hyperverse is being consolidated. But my message is always going to be clear. Right now, I'm here because the company has a responsibility and a duty to those individuals who are yet to receive one-times. Would you all agree that those are the most important members right now? Now, I know I can see VIP 3s and 4s and 5s. I know there's leaders on here. There's some lucky ones who are able to sponsor a VIP 5 and they haven't even ranked up. That's a nice position to be in, and they've done that, and they've done very well out of it. So for me, the most important member that the company has to focus on as a priority are going to be the members are yet to withdraw and are yet to receive one-times. And if you're all in agreement with me, that's a good place to start. Would you agree? Now, for the leaders that are on here, they say, well, hold on a second, Keith. I've been working for 18 months. I've been used to getting 2,000 HU a day, 1,000 HU a day, 5,000 HU a day, 10,000 HU a day, 50,000 HU a day. Yes, I was, Brenda's smiling. I will say that one thing the company has been guilty of, and I can see so many great leaders on here, one thing they have been guilty of is that they're corporate guys, corporate mindsets, and they didn't have the mindset of network marketing. Would you agree that they probably put together the most generous pay plan ever in the history of multi-level systems? For those of you who've got multi-level background, would you agree that that would be a fair statement?
Yeah.
Any of you who've ever built anything before will agree with me. 1 to 20 on a uni-level plan is unheard of and is obscene. Yeah. Another thing, infinity payout outside of your strongest team, which is already 20 level deep. Would you say that that's pretty much insanity? Would you say unlimited daily rewards is pretty insane? Some of you are smiling because you've done well and you're able to have had good money management. You've probably got a healthy stash of tokens. Okay, the market's down. You probably converted some of that into fiat currency. You're probably taking care of your bills, maybe taking care of the carpet, maybe bought a new car, maybe bought a new house, maybe did more traveling, maybe take care of your family's health bills or debts. So let's be honest with one thing, that they had a vision to share blockchain and cryptocurrency with the mass. And they gave us the best plan that I've ever seen and we've ever seen for years. I've never seen anything like this in 41 years. I started multi-level marketing in 1981. Most of you weren't even born then. It's a long time ago. I don't look old enough. Thank you so much for that. But the bottom line is that was many years ago, 1981. We didn't even have mobiles. The cell phone hadn't been really invented. So I started a long time ago, and I have had the benefit of experience and wisdom over the last 41 years. So I'm speaking from experience and wisdom. And companies that have come and gone, I've done my fair share of multi-level marketing, network marketing, from products to services to all sorts of things. And great companies that have come and gone, and companies that are still around, but it was the end of my journey with those companies, because guess what? Multi-level marketing is very tough. So I'm not here to make excuses, and I'm here to agree with you that these are very uncertain times, very worrying times. But I sometimes feel you need to make a stance and make a decision for yourself first and foremost. Sorry, let me get rid of that. So you have to make a decision one way or t'other. Of course, I've seen the transition from hyperfund to hyperverse. I've seen all the transitions. I've been here 2.5 years, guys, over 2.5 years. November 2019 is when I first embarked on my journey. And there's only a handful of us back then. And some of them are no longer with us right now. And some of them, whilst leaving, they're throwing bombs and causing despair, sorrow, sadness, anger, frustration, anxiety. So they're throwing all those things into the mix and leaving the building. Nice. I think to myself, why would you do that? Some of you who are nodes have seen how I feel and read how I feel about that behavior. You're going to leave quietly, leave with dignity and honor, and just leave with integrity. But I always think for every action, there's a motivation and a reason behind that action. And the vast majority of individuals who have left with a big noise and a big bang, lo and behold, they have a new opportunity for you. Yeah, agree? Some of you might have already been pitched once, twice, from individuals that you thought, wow, man, what just happened to you? And individuals, might I say, that have done extremely well to the tune of 6 figures and 7 figures. So the reason why I call this meeting with yourself, Brenda, and the team, the leaders here, is to tell you where I stand, my position, so you understand how I'm rooted and I'm planted and the direction I'm going. I firmly believe that they will find a solution for all of us. Firmly believe that. You have to believe in something. You have to hang on to hope. What's the choices on the table? Give up, retire, go on a beach somewhere and put your and chill out for the rest of your life. That's a nice idea. I'd get bored. Or to leave and do something else. Well, I've invested 2.5 years here, so why would I want to go and start something else and start from scratch? And here's the other thing as well. If I was to go and do something else, you think I'm going to get a no money down deal somewhere else? Well, some people get them. I'll tell you that now. Some people have a nice little pay to play startup, get involved, and they give them a nice little sweetener to get involved. I won't say that's happened, but I'm sure some individuals have negotiated a good deal if they've gone somewhere else, if they've made a name for themselves here. But again, I'm not mentioning any names, because that also, even if I don't mention name, some people say, Keith was talking about you. So I've learned that as well, even some of the messages coming in today. But all I'm just saying to you is that there are options on the table. For me, there's always options on the table. Yes, it's been a blessing, a tremendous blessing for me and my family, but it also has been a blessing for not just hundreds, not just thousands, for tens of thousands of individuals. Would you all agree that if you've managed it well, if you've done a healthy balance of rebuys and withdrawals and conversions on the exchanges, and you've converted out, you've replaced it with another token, okay, everything's down at the moment. But let's say you put it into USDT and you had it at a value which was pretty good. you're pretty much sitting happy right now. Would you agree? Because that's a smart thing to do. So then it gives you choices. I said, this call here is not to force you or to convince you of anything. It's just to put you in the picture of where we are and why I've made the decision to proceed with Hypernation. Now, at the moment, for those of you who are nodes, you understand what the program is up until the node offer. There is a node offer on the table. There's a node offer and a pro node offer on the table. What do I mean by that? Well, just as we had the super node offer 2 years ago, the pro node offer a year and a half ago, and last year we had the node offer. Some of you on this call benefited from the pro node offer and the node offer. And that was a pay to play system. I didn't have 30,000 USDT when I was offered the super node position. But guess what I knew? And remember, it was only 5 months in and it's 30,000 to put on the table. But here's what I knew, that if this thing becomes anything, that would be the best decision I've ever made in my life, apart from when I registered and signed up. Guess what I had to do, guys? I rallied around, I asked some questions, and at the time, Lewis, who was the master distributor for the Chinese community, and they were exploding at the time, and they were seeing my work ethic, they saw how committed I was. He lent me 30,000 USDT and he gave me 2 weeks to give it back to him. Guess what I did, ladies and gentlemen? I took the 30,000, I purchased the supernode position, and within 6 days, I got his 30,000 back to him. He was charging me 3,000, 10% for it. You know what he said to me? Keep it, you deserve it. Well done. So I saved 3,000. Now, I took a leap of blind faith in April 2020 to go ahead with the supernode program because they had a plan. And they absolutely developed that plan, and we since then had pro nodes. I remember speaking to some of the individuals, I think 6 months, 8 months later, August, September 2020, about becoming a pro node. Some of them were very, very young leaders, VIP 1s, 2s, and 3s. But I said, guys, push yourself, find a 20,000 USDT. It'll be the best decision you ever made. Some said yes. Some of you know that individuals like Kalpesh was a pro node. Steve was a pro node. My best friend and my good friends, Emmanuel Kai was a pro node, Manny. And a few others became. The Italians had a ton of pro nodes, 60 pro nodes. But the point I'm saying to you is at that time, in August 2020, yet again, it was the unknown. It was 20,000. Most of them were very young leaders here, didn't have the 20,000. But the ones that said yes, August 2020, well, what a decision that was to become a pro node in 2020. So I've seen this before. So part of my decision-making process over the last 3 weeks was based around, do I believe that they have the ability to turn things around? Do I believe that at my core? Because if I don't think, I know I won't be here. I wouldn't be here. Sorry, but all the phones ringing. Sorry, terribly sorry. If I didn't believe it, do you think I could come on calls and with conviction, with faith that it'll be okay? Now, a lot of it is centered around my upbringing, my faith. A lot of it is based around that. I like to believe that some things are possible. If I look back at the last 2.5 years and I started with zero, I didn't have the 1,000 USDT, didn't have it. So I worked for 3 months for nothing until I got blessed with 1,000 USDT. And the day after, it was like receiving oxygen to HU. 125 HU back in February 2020 was oxygen for me at that time because I was broke, penniless, I was in debt, and I needed something coming in, and I was prepared to work until God blessed me. So where are we right now? So important for you to have this mindset. We understand the market is pretty low, yes? Now I hear stories about, oh, these guys are robbing Peter to pay Paul, they need money in to pay money out. And I think to myself, why would you say that? Because in any corporation, you need to have revenue coming in, you need to be able to make profits, and you need to be able to pay out. Would you all agree that's pretty much the model for business? Revenue comes in, sales comes in, profits are being made, and profits are shared. One thing I would say this company is being guilty of is being overly generous. You might not think so if you're still waiting for one times. But here's what I've been pushing and getting assurances on. The most important member right now is the member that's yet to get one times back. Would you all agree, if you're a team leader here, your team's important, your community is important. So would you all agree that if there's assurances that we will take care of the individuals who are yet to receive one times, that's like music to your ears, yes? And obviously, individuals who are struggling with withdrawals, but they haven't received one times are the ones that they've got a basket, they've prioritized these members, okay? That tells me they have a heart and they know they've got a responsibility. Because if they didn't meet their responsibilities, what do you think will happen to the guys that have run off? Well, they'll be found, unless they're taking a space shuttle and they've gone to Mars. I mean, that's just a joke. We may go to Mars, but we don't actually do that because they're visible, maybe not to us, but they are visible. They're known, unless they go to a plastic surgeon and change their face, and then they might get away with it. But that's not really going to happen, is it? And location-wise, I know where they are. So if I know where they are, I'm sure the powers that be would find them. Does that make sense, everyone? And let's be honest, it is their company. It doesn't belong to myself. It doesn't belong to Brenda. We just saw a plan. It doesn't belong to Sheila or anybody else on here who've been building, Marcus and everybody else who you guys have built. Just benefited from a very generous plan that has given back so much to so many. And I'm telling you that as a fact. We're not just talking about a handful of great leaders who could do it in any network marketing companies. We're talking about individuals who came in with 300 and find themselves doing 1,000 a day. Yeah, VIP 1, VIP 2. I'm sure in every one of your teams, you have cases like that. Would you agree? And so for me, they fulfilled at least part of their promises. Did they see a conflict in the East? Did they see that conflict coming this year? I mean, we had the pandemic. We survived that. In actual fact, we thrived through 2021. Thrived. Did they see a conflict that has affected the world economy? Not at all. This conflict in the Ukraine has had a global effect. Would you agree? Did they see the downturn in the markets as a result? Did they see Bitcoin going down to 20,000? I mean, I bought Bitcoin last year at 47,000. I thought I was getting a good deal. Do you think it's a smart move for me to sell my Bitcoin today, right now? How many of you would sell? If you bought at 47,000, would sell now? Would you do it, yes or no? Do we expect the company to make silly decisions like that? If they have it, do you think that they're probably waiting for a bull run to be able to start getting some profits in place? Would you agree? I'm just speaking to you guys so you understand my thinking, the way I think of things. Because there are going to be some unknowns and that uncertainties. There's absolutely, but there's going to be a point that you have to make a leap of faith, or stay committed, or go. Absolutely, bottom line. And the reason why I say that is because we've seen what's happened over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. We've seen great leaders, or whatever you want to call them, greats, not even greats, I don't even want to call them great. Well, we've seen individuals making decisions based on personal gain, okay? But that's not me. I could have stopped a year ago and slinked off into the background and just chilled out and, maybe travel the world, be a nomad, a wanderer, and just enjoy my life. I could have done that, but I chose not to do that because I have a responsibility and a commitment to this community and to the project and to whatever it becomes. But that's me, that's not you. I'm just saying, I'm just telling you how I am and why. Some people think I've got these hyper rose tinted glasses on every single day. Well, I'd rather have hyper rose tinted glasses on than looking at the world and thinking, all right, let's try and find something else to do. Let's leave everyone behind. Let's take a chance somewhere else. This is the worst time right now to be jumping into something brand new. Would you agree? probably the worst time. And there are dozens and dozens of opportunities out there that have just sprung up, guaranteeing the G word. Unbelievable. It's just as bad as the other G word, greed. And so they're guaranteeing all sorts of rubbish out there. What I will say is that these guys have not done anything for me to think, well, their heart's not in the right place. Have they got a big problem to solve? Absolutely, you bet your bottom dollar. Yes, they do. Because, of course, they've been overly generous and the market is not very kind to anybody at the moment. At the moment. But guess what? What gives me some joy? So how many of you last week saw the bill posters, the banners, the advertising that went up in the 5 countries? How did you feel when you saw that? Now, to advertise in an airport terminal on the side of a building, would you agree that they're not going to let any old scam advertise on the side of a building? Would you agree? Again, it's join up thinking, it's logical thinking. And to me, it tells me that they have a much bigger plan, a more global opportunity, really big. I mean, if you think hypercommunity and hyperverse was grand, it was huge. Well, those series of adverts around the world, 5 countries around the world, 5 important countries, Germany, Italy, India, South Africa, I can't remember the other country, 5 countries. And you know what? I said in a sea of storm and clouds and thunder and lightning, there was a ray of sunshine. Does that resonate with anyone here? I saw a ray of sunshine. I thought, wow. And I'm really deep in it, guys. And let me tell you this now, I am deep in it because every single day I'm doing 3 or 4 Zooms for different teams. Because for my sins, I sit on top of a huge organization, which now means that I have a lot more leaders who've now rolled up to me because individuals have made decisions to abandon ship, but put their life jacket on first and be the first in the lifeboat. Forget women and children, forget the old, they're in the lifeboat and they're already rowing away from the ship. Who does that? Who does that? I always say when you think of people's actions, when they do something, try to find the motivation behind why they have done that. There's always a motive, there's always a reason. For someone to say that they found something after spending years here, they found something else in days of due diligence, it's insane that anyone would say, yeah, okay, I'll follow you. But you know, sometimes people drink the Kool-Aid that's available and that Kool-Aid sometimes can just turn you a little bit crazy. But again, I will not talk about any individual. I'll just tell you how I am and why I'm still here and why I'm talking to a team that is not part of my organization, not part of my team, you're part of the community. And I've always worked the entire community, whether it be South Africa through Rory, Brenda, the Italian team. None of these teams are part of my community, my team. But I'm doing it because we're all together as one. Yeah? We're all together as one. Now, here's what I see is happening from how I measure stuff. Not only were they overly generous, but individuals thought that they weren't generous enough. I'll repeat, not only were they overly generous, but there are some individuals that didn't think that Hyper was generous enough. Some of you will figure that out later on tonight. What do I mean? Is that some individuals decided that, you know, one good account is not enough. Let's take 70 accounts up. Let's do 100 accounts. Let's do 300 accounts. Fact. I've spoken to some of the leaders who are remorseful, who are embarrassed. They knew what they were doing at the time. Don't tell me the company allowed it. If you've been in network marketing, and some of them, a lot of them have been in network marketing, how do you find the time to create 70 accounts? It's insane. It's insane. How do you find the time to create 100 accounts? How do you find the time to do 300 accounts? Guys, I built from 2 positions, not even 2 positions. I built 1 position. My son above me, who was at university, college, built his own position. He's a VIP 5, independent of what I built in my team. He did it himself with the family, friends, and he did it all outside of me. two positions, his position and my position. And I put all my energy in building the correct way. Now, I'm not saying that's the reason why we are where we are now, but I'm just saying to you, the door was ajar and individuals decided to push through that door because they can fill their boots more and they can fill their saddlebags. So all I'm saying to you is that the company has had a host of things to deal with on top of what's going on in the world today. But guess what, ladies and gents? The lights are still on. They're still here. They haven't shut shop. How many of you have experienced error code 404? How do you, when you go to attempt to log in and you see error code 404, how does that make you feel? I know. It's like, hold on a minute. Then you go to the Telegram groups, it's all shut down and everything's gone. Websites disappeared. How many of you experienced that? Just one time in your life. These guys are still here. Yes, the rewards are racking up and you think, how the hell? Listen, their total liability, there's no way even what is put into this new program can cover their total liability. Would you agree? So I've had meetings. I speak to the management team. I don't speak directly to all the board members, the owners, but I do have access to one that will give me a little bit of a heads up. Not give me, because there's a board and there's a management team that's been brought in. I believe they're from Malaysia. I can't confirm that. We're a professional company that is transitioning us. Okay? That again, that, you know, you have this ray of hope and sunshine. That gives me a ray of hope that these guys are here for the long term. Now, is everybody going to be happy? Because Keith, you just addressed the one times and the people yet to withdraw. They've ring-fenced those individuals as the priority. Let me explain to you why. Because if they don't take care of individuals who haven't been able to receive one times, it moves from the realms of, you know, a collapsed business to something which could be potentially illegal. Would you agree? Because they haven't fulfilled, they've sold a product and they haven't delivered, yes? So there's those individuals have a claim to say, well, listen, I didn't get what I was supposed to get. Now, some people say, well, Keith, I'm a leader. I built a team. I was getting 1,000 a day. I started with 1,000. I've made 100 grand, but they still owe me all this amount because I still need to live. I still need to, you know, be upwardly mobile. I still need to buy a new car and a house and pay off my mortgage. So what about that? Would you agree that that is something that they have to manage? They have to manage that. I said some time back, overly generous plan. It tells me that there's no way that they would be able to fulfill the entire liability, including myself, by just giving out tokens, just giving it away, just giving it out. First of all, there wouldn't be enough buyers, the liquidity to buy the tokens that you're dumping on the market. How many of you understand what happened to Terra Luna? Yeah. Do you know what that token price got to the all-time high? $100. It's still around just, but guess what? It's worth cents on the dollar. That's one token. What if you invested 1 million over there? What if you invested 100,000? Who are you going to turn to? Who are you going to go to? Anyone? No. You bought some tokens, and guess what? I bought Polkadot last year. At the same time, I bought some Bitcoin, which I'm still holding on to. I paid $22 for my Polkadot. $22. Silly me, it went up and I was 150,000 in the black. I should have sold and got my seed out. But hey, I was too busy doing hyper. I just thought, let's leave it. And instead of taking at least my principal out, that was $22 June of last year. It went down to $12 by July, and I was phoning the guy up and said, how the hell you turned me onto a nonsense token? He says, don't worry, Keith, it's a good project. I've read the white paper, it's brilliant. And guess what? It turned around from $9, $10. So I should have been buying it on the way down, and it went up to $45. I was up on the deal. Did I cash out? Did I take my profits and run? No, I left it in there. It's running today at around about $9 Polkadot. Still a great project, $9. Do you think it's a smart move for me to sell my Polkadot today? What do you think? I bought 100,000 of it, dollars worth, not 100,000, $100,000 worth. Am I crying every time at night saying, why didn't I get my 100 grand back? No, it's one of those things you do. You try something. Make sense? Everything carries an element of risk. And what I love about these guys is that they're still trying to make good. They're still trying to fix because they believe in the community and they believe in us. Now, let's talk about the migration, should you wish to do that, from hyperverse, hyper community, which will be consolidated. There's a difference between consolidated and cancelled, stopped. There's a big difference. Would you agree? At the moment, they've got to shake the tree until all the dead wood falls off and some pretty strong branches have already fallen off. Would you agree that that is probably the best move for all of us going forward? Yes or no? And they're shaking the tree at the moment, and we are seeing the dead wood falling off the tree. My entire upline has benefited from the work that I've done. My entire upline, there's about 7 of them upline. 3 of them have never done a day's work here, and they're all millionaires, multi-millionaires as a result. Some of you might have heard the names in the early presentation. Sorry, it's baking hot in here. Some of you might have heard the names in the early presentations, but they've never done a day's work here. No, they have. They've learned how to withdraw, how to convert, and how to cash out and turn it into fiat currency. That's tough going. I mean, wow, they must have attended at least one technical training. I'm happy for them. I had a conversation with 1 or 2 of them. Listen, each to their own. They got lucky. They put 5 billion in sales on the table, and their weakest leg was 2 billion in sales. So it happens, you get lucky. They consider the work of bringing leaders as worth millions. I wish I could do that and not do this work. No, I think I love doing this. I wouldn't do that. But they've got their own personal problems to deal with now with all that money. And, I wish them well, health-wise. So the migration to hypernation is something that they have a vision on, and it's something that they believe in. Hypernation is now in its early stages. So as a leader or somebody who's interested in becoming a node or a pro node, there are opportunities there. We only currently have around about 200 nodes, 250 to 270 nodes and supernode currently in hyper community hyperverse. The last round of nodes was around, I think, September, October of last year. But what they're saying now is anyone can become a node should you wish to become one. Okay, it's open to the entire community because there's many individuals that weren't offered the opportunity to become a node in the old program. And remember, I told you to become a super node, I had to borrow 30,000 after being in the business for 5 months because I knew it was the right move to do. It's the best decision I've made since I joined because it turned everything around for me. So hypernation, we don't know the actual plan, but of course the boxes that are available for leaders, it's like the pay to play. So if you think I paid 30,000, if you remember I said I paid 30,000 2 years ago, well, for the big box, there's a cost for the big box, which is kind of like relative because in the 2 years and the success that I've had and many of the leaders, then it's a good option if you've managed things well. And the second box allows you to migrate some of your lines across. I think 10 levels there. I'm not going to go too much into detail because many of you on here, this is the first time you're hearing this. I don't want to go into details. Your nodes and your leaders will probably know, but the boxes that are available will allow you to migrate across from hyper community, hyperverse, a certain amount of your team, okay? Now, in the hyperverse hyper community, what they will do for the leaders is that they call it asset negotiation. I've got it written down from my meetings yesterday. Some of you probably had your meetings if you're a nodes, but I had to ask specific questions before making this decision as to what I'm going to do. So they said to me yesterday that the plan is that the hyperverse hypercommunity, which will still be growing, you can still have the opportunity there, but it'll be more of a passive opportunity, certainly consolidated. And those leaders from the hyper community will have the option or opportunity to have a negotiation around the assets. Does everybody understand what that means? Yes or no? Raise your hand if you understand what I'm talking about. So they're going to look at the total liability, and it may well be that it will be a swap for tokens and smart contracts to allow you to be able to start receiving from the old platform, because not everyone's going to go across, but those that go across will be able to participate in the new program. Okay, again, we don't have the details of the new program. We're yet to get our last meetings. I'm still yet to find out what that is, but from what I've been told so far is that there's a plan for the old platform, and don't quote me on this, but there will be some changes to the rewards plan. It may well be, it could be, you know, I'm just maybe guessing that it could be that maybe there might be maybe no more rebuys. Maybe they won't be allowing any more sponsoring. They'll certainly be taking a look at the multiple account situation. Okay, everyone? Just want you to understand. But it is not going to crash. HVT is not going to be allowed or let go and become zero. In the Hypernation, MOF will be the token, and you will see a recovery on that particular. So if you have got MOF on the exchanges, then let's see. But that will be the token. Plus, there'll be other tokens introduced to the community, okay? In both Hyperverse and Hypernation, okay? To give them options. And there'll be opportunities to swap your HU, and you know, they do have these competitions where you could maybe swap it for for Ethereum and Bitcoin, like I've done on certain competitions, okay? So that is that. Can I tell you all? The new program will have a marketing rewards system as well. So if you can still build a team in the new program, you can do that. Maybe I can say this, I suppose, there will be a daily. It'll be very similar to what we have here. I'm not sure if it will be 20 levels and unlimited, you know, infinity payouts outside your strongest team, but it certainly will have the ability to have withdrawals. So withdrawals will be available to you straight away. And also you'll be able to enjoy a healthy daily reward as well. Okay, but again, the details are yet to be given to us, and I haven't even had a heads up on that. I think I've covered some of the most important points. Of course, I don't have all the answers, but based on what I know, you have to make a decision. And I made the decision yesterday that I'm moving into the new program because I'm in all in. Now, some might be able to do that quite easily, and some might have to consider. It's not something you have to do straight away, but I'm obviously speaking to Brenda about how that works with leaders and anybody else who wants to come across the Hypernation. We don't know the full details yet. I think that will be revealed to us in the next 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, we will know how that plan works. You will have marketing material. Everything's going to be available for us to be able to build again. And if you're still in Hyperverse, then you know, obviously there'll be a consolidation there where they will obviously ensure that people are still getting their withdrawals through, and obviously asset negotiations for leaders that have a considerable asset and assets in that program.